This episode is brought to you by my clothing brand, Son of Man. You can go check it out. Season 2, we just launched it through the show notes in the description, or go to sonofmanskate.co.nz and check it out. Hey, what is going on, everybody, and welcome back. Oh, not even welcome back. Welcome to episode number 0 of the Son of Man podcast. I don't actually know what it's going to be called yet. I haven't actually created the podcast. I'm just here creating content and hoping you guys are going to enjoy it. Basically, this episode, I'm just going to give you some background on what is going on, my plans, my visions, a little bit about me, which we're going to dive deeper into on future episodes. But basically, as I said, this is episode number 0, and this is a podcast that I'm creating just to give a more personal look at everything that goes around here at Son of Man. Basically, my name is Paul, and I created a clothing brand called Son of Man. Basically, it is a Christian brand, but it's got more of a mission, and just I want to get something that I'm really passionate about is getting homeless people off the streets. I've seen it a lot here in my city in Wellington, New Zealand. Like, there's a lot, man, and it freaking sucks. Like, that's one of my missions here, one of my purposes. And to build my brand, what I've wanted to do, I created some goals. I've been reading a book, what's it called, Ride of a Lifetime by Robert Iger. The guy, he was the CEO as of about a week ago until he stepped down of Disney. And in his pitch to become CEO, he had like all these goals, and someone was basically like, nah bro, like pick 3 goals and just prioritize them and go hard on those. And so one of my goals for Son of Man, I basically did the same thing, chose 3 things, and one of them was to make Son of Man more of a person, not personal, that's not what I'm looking for, but more of a brand that you can connect with me. And because what I've noticed is the brands that I connect with the most are the ones who I sort of like know the people behind them, the reason why the brand was set up and all of that. So the whole idea of this podcast is to basically show you behind the scenes, or show you behind the scenes and let you get you to learn a little bit about me and all that. So as I said, this is just episode number 0. This isn't like an official episode of really much value, but I want to give you some ideas of the direction we're going to be going in the future episodes. So I'm going to be starting off probably just talking about me and my like past and how I got here, why I'm doing this. But there's a few things I'm interested in, and the podcast could go in any really one of those directions, or it could go in all of them. I don't again, this is just like putting it out there and seeing what happens. So a few things I'm interested in is obviously business. I got my own business, I got a clothing brand, so we could talk about those sort of strategies, or just about how I did it and what I'm doing and what I'm currently testing, and just basically review about how this whole process is going. Another thing I think I mentioned, I don't actually remember, but I got really into self-development over the past few months or so, and I've been learning a lot, I've been reading a lot, and that's another thing. I got into reading. I don't know why. I always hated reading, but I think I've just learned a lot. Learned a lot of stuff, and it's actually super interesting, so I could maybe share something about that, maybe get some guests on. I've never really thought about getting guests on, see how that's going to work. If this takes off, we might go in that direction. Hopefully it does, because I think that'd be super interesting for both myself and for everyone listening to this, so that'll be one cool way to go. Another thing, I'm also Christian. I didn't really plan on this being a Christian podcast. I mean, we might dabble some stuff in there every so often, what I'm reading in the Bible and what I've learned from it and all that, but this wasn't really the plan for this specific podcast. Maybe something in the future, not too sure. But another thing I'm interested in is basketball, bro. I like to talk smack. Like, literally, I'm in like a whole bunch of group chats with the boys like I used to go to school with, and I'm literally like just in there just to poke the bear, just to stir the pot, you know. That's what I love that so much. Like, I know everyone's favorite teams, what they love, and I just like to go in there and just like, you know, just stir the pot, get people mad. Like, it sounds real weird, but I like doing that. So we could talk some hoops, we could talk some business, we could talk some self-development, we could talk about growing a brand. I don't really know. This is just to put it out there. And so just to conclude this episode, I want to finish off by saying I'm really trying to make a push to get on the new and noteworthy list on all the podcast sites for obvious reasons. Obviously, I'm not going to get on like the top list of any category, whatever category this podcast shows up as, and so no one really reveals how to get on those lists, but there are a few things that like are universally known that will help. So if you guys want to help out, that would be absolutely amazing. The easiest way to do that is just to subscribe to this podcast and to continue listening. And saying that, I'm probably going to upload the first few episodes like all at once. So if you're listening to this, there'll be a few more episodes going more in depth into specific topics that you can go listen to right now. So go check those out. But if you want to be a real for the boys, there's a few things you could do. Obviously subscribe and listen, but one thing you could do is take a screenshot of this podcast and chuck it up on Instagram on your story or as a post. And if you tag us Son of Man Skate, there'll be a link in the show notes, I'm sure. Son of Man Skate is our Instagram. Tag us in it and we'll repost it, just like that. Bang bang, win-win situation. The other thing you can do is just go and leave a 5-star review, and if you do that, I'm sure I'll read them out all in the future episodes. As I said, I'm going to upload the first few at the time, but after that, I'm going to read out every single 5-star review, and that will really help me out a lot. I'd really appreciate that, and we can help and grow this together. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for listening to this first little episode introductory thing. Future episodes will be longer and go more in depth into specific stuff. Again, I don't really have a plan, but that's kind of the whole thing of this podcast. We're just going with the flow, seeing where it takes us, and I hope you guys have really enjoyed this, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Peace out.